Hey, what's up guys? On today's video, we are going to talk about CI/CD on GitHub Action Platform. So before we dive into our video today, we just have a quick look on what is CI/CD in GitHub Action Workflow. So as you can see from this paragraph here, or from this chart here, we have like event, we have a runner, multiple runners, we have a job, and below the job we have different steps. In a step we can run actions or we can run our script. So what's event gonna be then? If we read from this paragraph, you can say GitHub Action Workflow to be triggered when an event occurs in your repository. The event could be pull request, or it could be an issue has been created, or a push. If you push your code from your local to your remote repository. And if the event is occurred, it's gonna run to run this task runner. So, and a runner it could be a jobs, like in a runner basically just an environment. You can define a runner environment in a file, in a configuration file. Like you can have that as a Ubuntu or different environment. So each of the environment is running in parallel. So it's running at same times, and each job will run inside on virtual machine runner or a container. So in a container we have different steps. In a step, maybe we're gonna pull our code, we wanna run some script, like to do some to link our code to test our code. So basically this is like a main concept of GitHub Action Workflow. So let's go back to our code. As I have just initial my code, it's just very very basic simple code. It's just a page with the text hello React. So in order to have a GitHub Action Workflow, we need to have a file. We need to have a folder called .github under workflows, and in the workflow we're gonna define our workflow like CI YAML, and then we're gonna write our configuration here. So before I'm gonna run a configuration, I wanted to have a look my package JSON. In our package JSON, we have a couple of scripts here, like we have a link.js, link prettier, link styles, and we have a test to test our code. And before I writing a configuration, I want to check my my code is ready to go, ready to push to repository. So say npm run linked. Everything looks good, everything is formatted, and the npm run test. Yeah, everything is good. So these two steps, that's what I want, like a npm run linked, npm run test. These two steps I want to do while we push our code to repository, and when we have a pull request to main or to other branches, I want to run these two commands to make sure these two commands is good, and before we merge that to different branch. So let's go back to our YAML file configuration for workflow. So So in the workflow, we need to define a name for this workflow. We say a CI. We name it a CI, and then we're gonna listen to an event. Let's say, let me just get this so you guys can see that more clear. So we are going to have an event. We are listen on event, pull request event. We are on pull request event. When there is a pull request to branch main or branch staging, we're gonna trigger some action, or we're gonna to do some jobs. So we're gonna define a job. We design a job called CI. And we have a and we're going to define a runner, and we can basically just to define an environment. So we want that our job to run on a Ubuntu system. Then we're gonna we have a job, and we're gonna have steps. That steps that define what we exactly gonna do in this environment. So first step that I want to do is I want to have I want this environment to use Node version 16. So we're gonna we call this step as using Node.js. We are going to use this action, and it's called, we're gonna define that as a Node.js, Node version 16. That's our first step. And the next step is I want to check out our repository. Basically, it's to drag our code down to this virtual machine. Yeah, so we next step, on this step we call it checkout repository. And then next step is after we check our repository, and I want to install dependencies. Let me just remove that. So we call it as a install dependencies. We're gonna run a command called yarn install. And after we install that, we need to check. We need to run a script, like we need to check the lint, make sure every code is formatted. It's not. It's formatted. It's ready to go in good standard. And after that, when the link's good, and then we're gonna run a test. And when everything is ready to go, so it means this CI, this task has completed. And so on every time we have a pull request, and or we add a commit to our pull request, it's gonna run all of this, or like from step from here to the bottom. But sometimes we need to cache our dependencies, because like dependency is like we need to download quite a lot of dependencies, and it's gonna take a lot of your time. So we want to cache our dependencies. So we have a step called cache. Okay. We add a step called cache, and we just define any ID here. Now we're gonna use the action called cache, and here we basically on cache we generate a key. The key is based on the operation system. That's gonna be, because we use Ubuntu, that's gonna be Linux, and it's gonna generate an ID that based on the YAML.log file. So we have an ID. So on here, before we run yarn install, we need to check if we have that ID. If we have that ID, means we have that cache. So if we have that cache, we don't need to yarn install. We don't need to install dependency anymore. So we check that steps cache dependencies. That's the ID here, and it has the output. We will check that if that hit the cache. If that's not true, and we're gonna run dependencies. We're gonna install dependencies. So that's good to go. Everything looks good, fine. We have an event. We have a event listen on pull request. That's gonna on main and staging branches, or you can add multiple branches. And we have a runner. We have our job. We have a job that's gonna be based on the environment, and that's on this environment. That's the step what we're gonna do. Okay, so let's make a commit and push that to remote. Let's say add git commit. Let's say add CI workflow, the git push. Let's see, we have that commit now. We have the latest, our CI workflow here. So next thing I wanted to do is I want to have I'll create a branch, like feature branch, and I'm gonna modify some code. Then I'm gonna push that to report to the remote, and that's gonna make a pull request. That's gonna, and when I create a pull request to main, that's gonna run this step. I'm gonna run these steps. Okay, and so I'm gonna create a branch. Okay, check out branch. Let's say I'm gonna call that feature 2. And now we are on the feature 2 branch, and let me just add some text here. So let me just add this. Let's say commit as a add feature 2. So we're gonna push that to our remote, and we get notification here. So we're gonna make a pull request. So we wanna do our feature 2 branch. We wanna pull request to main branch. So when we create a pull request, that should invoke this event, and it's gonna run all these steps. Let's create pull request. So make a pull request, and it should, as you can see, that's a CI. That's a CI is running, and let's dive in to have a look. Let's compare that with our configuration file. We have a using Node.js, yes, and we have a using Node.js, we have a check repository, and that basically just pour our code to this virtual machine, and we do the cache, and we do npm install. The cache should be not hit it because this is first time running this. As you can see, cache is not found, and so it generates this ID based on the YAML yarn.log file, and it's gonna, because this is not hit, so it's gonna run yarn install, which is like gonna take a bit of time to run to install dependencies. Then after we've done that, we have to run our command linked and our command yarn test. Everything looks good. As you can see, the test has done, and link is doing that. It's all good, all formatted, and the test has passed. Then then we are ready to have a merge pull request. But before that, before I doing the pull, before I doing the merge, I want to show you this cache dependency. So I'm going to make another commit. Let's say I make another change. Let's say feature. Let me just add some plus sign and make a commit. Okay, it's gonna run this. It's gonna run this CI again. Sorry, that I just make a commit. I forgot to push that. Okay, once we have pushed that, and it's gonna run. We have two commit here, and we'll check if that's gonna run CI again. As you can see, the CI is running again, and this time it's gonna skip install dependencies. As you can see, this is like as you can see here, that running lint takes 7 seconds. This takes 0 seconds. So on second commit, it only takes 24 seconds. And we can check our previous one. Like on previous one, it takes it takes 1 minute 33 seconds, and on second one, it only takes 24 seconds because we didn't install dependencies, because we have our dependencies cached. Then we can merge that to our main branch. Then after we've done the main merge, that we can delete this branch. So everything is so good so far. So on this video, we have talked about CI, and it's already take about like 20 minutes. I'm gonna leave the CD like a continuous deployment. We're gonna leave that for next video, which is gonna be part 2. Okay, I'll see you guys on next video then.